You're listening to the First Fight podcast, home of the people and stories behind the fight. I'm Jennifer Anderson, the host and creator. My goal is to give you a peek into the remarkable world of fighting and create a platform for fighters to tell their stories. In each episode of this series, a different fighter shares a transformative story of their first time. Welcome back, everyone. It's been a couple weeks off because we had a baby. And she's actually joining us as my co-host today. Hopefully she'll be quiet. But this is my good friend, Corey Meeks. I met Corey years ago training at Rufus Sport in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And he is back in the Midwest, fellow Midwesterner.
Yep.
And he's going to give us a little background into how he got started and tell us about his first fight.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jen. So it's good to catch up. It's been a little while. So I'm located in Columbus, Ohio. That's where I'm born and raised. Spent a little bit of time up in Milwaukee, like Jen said. I think we met at Rufus Sport probably around 2013, maybe, give or take. So yeah, I guess my journey in martial arts started in like early 2010. So I had just moved back to Ohio from California, and I had a buddy who was training jiu-jitsu at the time. And, I just had a brief wrestling background through junior high, high school. This buddy introduced me to jiu-jitsu, thinking I would like to check it out. So dove into that. Probably about 6 months in, decided I wanted to take a fight. So, back in those days, especially here in Columbus, we didn't really have, like a centralized, like location, like training facility, where everything was in house. We didn't have like a jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, Muay Thai, all under one roof. So back in those days, I think I was doing jiu-jitsu at like a Hells and Gracie gym here, and traveling to a guy's garage. He was a local professional fighter here at the time, Anthony Jaime, and he was training striking out of his garage, teaching me some Muay Thai, and took a fight with first amateur fight was with a promotion called NAAFS. Back in July of 2010. So actually Stipe held their heavyweight title for a while with that local promotion, I think, before he jumped to the UFC. So that was kind of cool. They came to Columbus. They were more, I would say, focused on like the Cleveland market at the time. They would do shows here and there in Columbus. So was able to hop on one of those, and it was, I just remember it being quite a bit of a whirlwind, to say the least. So, day of the fight, I can remember I had like, you get your, they tell you like pick a song out, blah, 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 all that, what your walkout song is going to be, had one in mind, get there. They're like, no, we can't do that one. I was like, all right, well, do whatever. And, in the back, you're starting to warm up, getting your hands wrapped. And that's like, I feel like for me, that was always the point, back in the back where it's like, oh shit, this is about to get real, like hands are getting wrapped, your heart rate starts to increase a little bit. Things, I can't just go out to my car and drive off and get out of here at this point. So,
I hate it backstage.
Yeah.
It's the worst part. Like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, you just have a whirlwind of emotions, and I think like something key, having people around you that know how you operate as a person, as an athlete. Like, I think a good coach, a good business leader, they understand that out of somebody, and they, I think they can get somebody to best operate under the circumstances, based on that person's personality. I think that goes a long way. So luckily had some people around me at that time that, were able to kind of help me keep my navigation in the right direction walking in there. So yeah, I remember walking in the cage. I just ended up wearing headphones because just kind of, I think as an athlete, you tend to like build certain rituals leading up to like a competition, and obviously you tweak those along the way, as you learn how to better operate under certain circumstances. So, that was kind of trial and error with that first one. It was just like tunnel vision. You see lights. It's like the whole place is black, but the cage is lit up, and you're just like, that's the only thing you kind of like focus on. I think I just look down at my feet, make sure I'm walking forward, step by step kind of thing. And then, it's like once you get in there, like everything else just kind of gets shut off around you. And yeah, I don't know. It's a crazy feeling. To be honest with you, I think the last time I actually fought was a professional boxing match here in Columbus. So I've not had that feeling in probably about 4 years now, and just kind of reminiscing on it, kind of gets you excited a little bit. But
Boxing's a little different though, right? Like
for sure, I would say
I was nervous, but it wasn't like
it
it's
wasn't
quite
as
as scary.
heightened. Yeah. I think like, not taking anything away from that. Like, it's just, it's different. I think the more restrictions or rules you have, like on I don't know if I want to say like sport, but like the more sport it becomes, like with the more rules that you implement, and it's like, it's a little less chaos and like things to take into consideration, like boxing versus MMA.
Well, you're not
And
going
then,
to end up on your back getting punched in the face in boxing, so that it's like a little less scary. Boxing's scary, don't get me wrong, but it's a little less scary, I
for
think.
sure. And yeah, I think coming from like, I would say more so growing up as like a grappler, it was definitely stepping outside of my comfort zone a little bit. I think I took like 2 boxing fights, and I think in the first one I actually kind of like fell into like a double leg, which is kind of funny. But you kind of go off instinct sometimes. So it was all in good fun though. But yeah, I remember like back for that, that amateur MMA fight, that first fight. Stuff just happened so quickly. It's like, ref says fight, it was literally like over, it felt like a blink of an eye. But it's weird because it's like time is so distorted. Like it's fast, but it also feels like it's forever. I don't know. It's hard to understand and like really articulate, I think, to people that have not experienced that before. Especially, I think over time, as you get, more experience under your belt, like you learn how to manage that and like be in that moment a little more, rather than having that strict tunnel vision where, everything's just kind of like a weird dimension.
Totally. I mean, it's hard to be present. I feel like that kind of comes with time. In the beginning, you're just kind of reacting because it does feel so fast.
Yeah, just solely relying on your training, and hopefully, you did the right things to react the right way. And I guess, thankfully that first night, that first fight, I was able to react the right way. I think ended up getting like a 10-finger guillotine. And actually the funny thing, like a few months before that, like the WEC was in town back in the day, kind of dating, where we were at. And I want to say it was Scott Jurgensen, I think, hit like a 10-finger up against the cage, and it was in Columbus, and like finished this dude. And like had just started kind of like learning that, and it was like, oh shit, finished my first fight with a 10 finger. It was kind of fun, kind of exciting at the time. But yeah, so that was really the experience of the first one. A lot of build up to it for something that was over pretty quickly, and I don't know, it was just a wild ride.
After that first fight, did you know you wanted to keep doing it? Like, was your goal, did you see it as something that you had like long-term goals with?
Yeah, I think it got I got more serious about it like progressively over time. Like as I started training more, I think at that point, yeah, I was probably only training for like a handful of months, and then some things changed like around town here. We had some new gyms kind of open up that were a little more geared towards, what I was saying at the beginning, with like a centralized location where they were offering all martial arts under like one roof. So they had like Muay, you could get your Muay Thai in, you could get your Jiu-Jitsu in, and then had some opportunities to where, we had some people coming to town to do some seminars, and that was actually how I got the opportunity to first go up to Milwaukee. And I think at that point, I went up there over winter break in college for my first time. And, at that point, I think that's kind of like where my mindset shifted to where it was like, okay, I think I could, I'd like to pursue this thing a little, further than, just surface level of where I was at the time.
You moved up to Milwaukee to train, so you were pretty serious about it. And you went pro, right? And you had a couple fights there when you were there, right?
Yeah. Just a handful of fights, under like when I was training up in Milwaukee. Took my first professional fight there, and then ended up having one back here in Columbus as well. Like I'm, still on like the regional scene. Ran into some like, you're at, as a mixed martial artist, you're always going to run into, I would say, maybe call them roadblocks, bumps in the road. You know, Came across like a hip injury that kind of sidelined me for a little while, and about 11 months. And like within that 11 months, I had made the move back to Columbus after, I want to say around like maybe a little over 2 years in Milwaukee. So, and then, life just kind of took a little bit of a different direction. I had, at that point, like as I was injured, that lifestyle, especially when you're, in your early 20s, you're kind of working odd and end jobs to, just pay for cost of living. And, had tried was working on a business, that I was trying to start, just on my own, and, ended up reaching out to some guys here in Columbus for some guidance on that. And a different opportunity opened up for me at the time, and it made sense then, to me to, take advantage of that. And, yeah, that's just where life kind of shifted. Took a few boxing matches, like while that hip was still kind of healing. And, yeah, here we are. So
It's a tough lifestyle. It's hard to give up, but it's totally an unreasonable lifestyle.
yeah, I would say it's a very selfish lifestyle. And like, but like in a good way, it's not like
Yeah.
you're being selfish to like spite other people around you. It's most of the time you're doing it to provide for yourself or other people around you. And, you're really trying to, I think in essence, just pursue something to be like the best version of yourself at it, and like people do that in different avenues, and mixed martial arts happens to be one of them. It's
hmm
very drastically different than the route that the majority of people choose to take. But for the ones that do, you definitely got to tip your hat to them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what you do with it, I think if you train at a certain level for a period of time, you totally evolve as a person and learn a lot about yourself too. Even though I don't fight anymore, I don't know, I love that level of training. I love being able to see things in yourself, and I am all about promoting other people doing that. I miss it. I can't train like that anymore
Yeah.
physically either, outside of just having kids and whatnot. But I miss that type of training, but I can still incorporate it in ways, and I still have evolved because of it. And in anything, you once you learn how to like take it to the limits in anything, I feel like you can be like that with anything else or with
Yeah.
everything.
I think a lot of that, really like the principles that you develop like through that commitment to something like that. Yeah, like what you were saying, really, really translate over into, anything else you do in life. And, being at the gym that, we were at up in Milwaukee, it's a world-class gym, within that spectrum, that sport. And, just dedicating your life to that process, no matter what happens, you're gonna continue to develop as a person from that, I think, in my mind. And it's such a hard, like what you were saying, lifestyle to kind of get away from, like now it's like I still, nowadays I mostly just train jujitsu and try to compete in jujitsu as frequently as I can, with, work and other things out just with life. But yeah, it's, like what you were saying, it's just such a hard thing to get away from. And especially, like the community around it too. I think there's no other, I don't think there's any other like outlet that allows you to get as close to people in such a short amount of time as like what martial arts does. And, I think that actually like was pretty like brought to the forefront to me, like when I, recently took, like a trip over to the Philippines, in like 2019 and 20, for work actually. And luckily, found some good jujitsu there that helped me like notice that, I guess. So.
Now, tell me about your new venture. I mean, it's still somewhat within the industry. Would you call it like a lifestyle clothing brand?
Yeah, yeah. So like, funny thing is, kind of like how I was talking, that first one was kind of going after back in like 2014 with that hip injury. I want to say late 2020, like beginning of 2021, I was coming off a foot surgery. And, you definitely get a lot of time on your hands when you're in a cast and, not able to train, and wheels start spinning. And, yeah, started to develop this, apparel, like mixed martial arts, like apparel company, really related to the things that we've kind of been touching on here. Is really like, to me, I think it's a platform that allows, like my artistic side to come out and really try to communicate like these principles and kind of like the mindset that one essentially like starts to adopt like from their involvement in martial arts, and kind of highlighting like the culture, around that, and trying to, present it in an artistic way that, hopefully encourages people to, want to give it a shot and, see what it can do for them, whether if they're looking to compete or, just be around a group of people that are really going to help them to like push themselves to, really, just try to be the best person that they can be, whether if that's on the mat or outside just in day-to-day life. So.
So would you say that's like your mission is to kind of spread that lifestyle and that knowledge?
Yeah, for sure. I think like at a very base level, I would say that's kind of like my purpose with it. And I think that's what I was trying to do. So like the first one was called MMA Connect, which, I was trying to go around to like different gyms and, was trying to develop like an app at the time where it was like highlighting different gyms in different regions, trying to give people like a better understanding of a gym's culture prior to them like visiting or deciding that they want to go there to train, like long term. Because like back in the day, now it's definitely, I would say, more mainstream. UFC's on ESPN. They're having fights like every weekend. Now you're getting kids, starting up in jiu-jitsu when they're, 4 or 5 years old. And it was kind of hard to get that idea back in the day. I think, like I say back in the day, like 2010, like when I first started, it's really not that long ago, but yeah. And then now with the new venture, so it's called Bijonari, which is Japanese for visionary. And I was able to. I was pretty lucky, like stumbling. Had an old buddy of mine that had some experience like within the industry, and then came across another guy here locally, and things just kind of fell into place pretty organically. So, yeah, I would say that's going back to your question. I kind of got long-winded there, but yeah, that would be the purpose. Really trying to, you know, show people like what the mindset and like philosophy that I've kind of adopted for myself over these past 10, 11 years, and hopefully encouraging others to kind of take that leap themselves.
That's amazing. I love your gear. I love all the design and aesthetics. It's awesome. It's kind of hard to find, I don't know, brands in the industry that are stylish, more stylish, something that you'd want to wear outside of training. So I'm excited for it. I hope it grows, and I'm looking forward to seeing it grow. Your website is
B, B,
bijonary.com.
yep, Bijonari.com. So that's Bijonari.com.
Okay.
Instagram is visionary underscore. So again, Bijonari underscore. Yeah, we're definitely in the very early stages. Our first release was in November, and we had a little release party with that. We collaborated here locally with a jiu-jitsu instructor. I think we had 50 people come to the seminar. Kind of brought them together. We had a DJ there playing some, live music. Had some food, some hors d'oeuvres to give out afterwards, and it was just cool. That's really like our goal is to bring people together like that within the community, and what we're shooting for is really like a themed approach to all of our releases. So really like, taking those philosophies and kind of presenting like an overall theme with them with an artistic twist. So, we're pushing to get our next one out in May, and that one we're gonna start to kind of navigate towards offering more than just apparel. Getting in some rash guards, training shorts, and like what you were saying, something that's artistic, not too loud and in your face. Something that you could wear, to go work out in, to go to the gym, or just everyday apparel. So
Yeah, we've come a long way from the affliction days, so time for
thankfully.
something new and fresh. I love it though. I'm excited to see where it goes. That's one thing I love about fighting and training. It's such a small world. Like everyone I know from Milwaukee, I still see people at fights that come out here to Atlantic City to fight, and everywhere you go, it's fun to like stay in touch and see how everyone is. It's like a little family we have. I still keep in touch with a bunch of people, and that's my favorite part about fighting is it's like a little club of people from all over the world, and it's small, like you see people everywhere you go. You can't get away from some people, so.
But yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And then like, I think like through that, like just the nature of the sport, it's like that connection that you have with that person is like, I would say so much more than just like surface level, like with
Oh,
other, I guess, acquaintances in life or friendships and things like that. So, yeah, no, I think sometimes it gets tough, stay in touch with people, but, I think, it's always, yeah, it's always easy to catch up quickly with that community, I would say.
for sure. Like obviously the people that I like and consider my friends, it's like I always feel like we're friends. It's like I can't speak on actually going to war, but I feel like when you train like that at that level, you've been in the trenches with someone and you know them way better, and they've seen sides of you that a lot of people don't get to see. So I feel like that's always a bond that doesn't just go away. So
Oh no, highs and lows, highest of highs and lows, lowest of lows.
I
Sitting in the hot bathtubs trying to cut weight. Yeah, to getting the hand raised and going to hang out afterwards. So it's yeah, it's a fun lifestyle, and I think it's a great community. Hopefully, more people get the chance to be a part of over time. So
yeah, I'm happy to hear you're still like training and competing, and I'm planning on getting back into that once I have a little extra time. I want to at least do jujitsu competitions. It's amazing. Well, good luck with your new business venture. I'm excited about it. I'll make posts on it so people can find you on Instagram. And thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
yeah, thanks for having me. That was fun.
Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in and being patient on our 2-week hiatus. Thanks to our new addition to the family, Nina. You know how it goes with newborns. Kind of hard to get anything done, but we are back. We'll still be posting new podcasts on Tuesdays. You can tune in on any podcast listening app. I like to use Spotify personally. Also, thank you to my friend Corey, fellow Midwesterner. We met years ago, and he's still competing and starting a new company. You can check him out at bijonari.com, and his Instagram handle is at bijonari_. So you can check out his gear. I love his clothing, and he'll have more coming up too as well. Check us out on Instagram and our website, firstfightpodcast.com, and at The First Fight. So, once again, Nina, thank you for being my co-host. You can hear her little baby noises in the background, but we are multitasking here, and we will have another episode for you next week. Thanks again.